right, everybody, if you're in here, we're going to go live in about 1 more minute. Appreciate you being in here. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to URTIMEIN podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Shepard. We have a little bit of a break coming up. We have 1 week off next week. And then after that, we will have Glenda Houston on. She's a coach like myself. We're going to be doing a discussion on coaching and the effects of coaching. Really looking forward to that conversation. Looking forward to working with Glenda again. I've known Glenda for about maybe 2.5, 3 years now. I just had a phone conversation with the other day. She got some great things going on. Definitely looking forward to having that conversation with her, having her on the show, having her to be able to come on the show. So that's coming up for the podcast. Some other things we got going on. We are currently working on becoming a Twitch affiliate. And so primarily we've been doing a lot of off kind of podcast regular schedule stuff. So we've been doing some gaming on Twitch just to kind of help push that affiliate status. The other thing that we've been working on is we're going to be launching, I want to do like streamer Saturdays or stuff like that, something like that. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but where we interview people who stream on Twitch, no matter what they do, no matter what genre, if they're multi-game streamer, diverse streamer, like whatever it is they stream. We want to be able to introduce them to their community in a different way, So a lot of the times what I feel like is people who are on this platform or people who are on any platform that have a certain niche, you only ever get to see them in that niche. You never really get to explore them outside of it. And so one of the things that we're working towards is probably going to come and start. I want to start it in December, but I don't know if we'll be able to, but definitely January is just having those streamers on, just and interviewing them, asking them questions, getting questions from their fans and their audience, and talking about different things. So I'm definitely looking forward to that in the upcoming weeks. Hopefully, like I said, December, January timeframe is where we're looking at kicking that out. We also have the holidays coming up, so there's 2 topics I do want to cover and try to cover before the holiday in December, which is I want to cover toxic masculinity and I want to cover long hair don't care. What it's looking like is we're going to blend those together. If you all remember, we did a episode with Jasmine Vasquez as well, and she has some great stuff that she wants to come on and talk about again, different than real estate. And so we want to use our platform and kind of open up everybody's eyes and ears and to some of the stuff that she wants to come back on and talk about. I had a great conversation with her after our podcast, and I'm looking forward to working with her on that stuff. I had a great conversation with Brandon Shern, which was on our last podcast episode. If you missed that, that was episode 12. That one, I'm definitely looking forward to Brandon's podcast trajectory, and I hope he did go ahead and get started. He did come on here last week, and he did say that he was going to push towards starting that podcast. So definitely looking forward to seeing that progress and where he goes with that. Have Brandon back on here. I love chopping up with Brandon. I could talk to Brandon any time of day of the week. So we're still working on. If y'all remember D-Ron Howington, I actually want to come. I have him back on the show, just because I feel like there was so much to the bodybuilding thing, and we only talked about the bodybuilding. But like, I want y'all to get to know like different aspects of him. Like I know him. So if you're on Twitch, there's a man by the name of Yadi Dottie. Still working on getting Yadi Dottie on here. We try to sync our calendars, trying to work on that. We're gonna get him on here. Boss Lady, thank you for coming into the chat. I knew you was gonna show up. Hopefully you show up and show out. That is the criteria for today, because we're gonna be talking about genuine selves. And I've been getting to know you a little bit, from the Discord, from your streams and everything. And I definitely appreciate what you do for your community and the community of the Pull Up Gang and what y'all created and the sense of community that came along with that. So hopefully you're not sweating too much on that Call of Duty. I hope you're liking it. I saw you in Ty Diggity stream. I saw y'all was all up in the house, and then the next thing I saw, y'all was going to the gulag. But I did see that. So hopefully, but I want to do. Hopefully, we can do a podcast episode when we start that like streamer. I don't want to say streamer Saturdays because I don't really want to do it just on Saturdays because everybody doesn't stream on Saturdays. The idea is not to mess up other streamers' schedules. So hopefully we can do that. AV, thank you for coming in. Let me get these shout outs in here real quick. That's the problem with not having being so new that you don't have a mod. So how does Twitch podcasting differ from regular podcasting? In regular podcasting, there's not really too much interaction with your community. It's taken me a little bit of time to get used to it. Also means that when I do the podcasts that come out on regular podcast platforms, I did make you a mod. Okay, good. So when I do the podcast on regular podcasts or streaming platforms, it'll have a lot of edits in it. A lot of the edits will be some of the shout outs will get edited out, not any of the questions, but some of the interaction will get edited out for the flow of conversation, right? I'm learning more about podcasting and the intimacy of it and the people who truly listen to podcasts, and why there's production teams and writers and all that stuff. Fela, thank you for coming in. I wanted to set up the music alerts. I didn't get a chance to do that. Life kind of happened today, and I was kind of prepping for this podcast, so I didn't get a chance to set that up. But just so everybody knows, whenever she comes in, it's gonna play her catchphrase, which just comes in like a wrecking ball, because I think that's the coolest thing. I got one for Boss Lady. I got one for Boss Lady too, but I ain't set it up yet, and I don't want to spoil it. I got something special planned for Boss Lady. So when she comes in here, her sound alert will go off. But thank y'all for being here today. Hopefully y'all enjoy this conversation that we have planned for today. I have some prompts in here as well. So if you're in the chat, please just go ahead and engage in the chat. And if I miss anything or forget to say something or anything like that, if I miss you, I appreciate you. I'm gonna do my best to facilitate the conversation on it. I think it's an important topic as well. What up, Cuzzo? That's my cousin right there. It's Trey Live. He always comes through, always supporting. I definitely appreciate that, fam. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the topic and interact with you guys and ask you guys some questions. Hopefully, we can get some engagement going and we can facilitate this conversation. I think it's an important conversation. It's on being your genuine self, right? Oh wait, hold up. I missed something. Da-da-da, pop, pop. So a lot of times we present a facade, or people interpret that we present a facade whenever they meet us, right? And over the years, what I've learned, and I say years, I mean the last 3 years, I had some medical problems or issues coming up in 2020, and it kind of just like changed my whole perspective on life and like what I felt was important and everything like that. I won't have any interviews today, Av, but I do want to interview people as like I do want to do interviews with people from Twitch. I also have some interviews coming up with people that are not from the Twitch community, but they are. I will have some guests on here. So I have Glenda Houston coming on next week. This week is just me. I'm gonna be going over the topic on this episode of it's called Genuine Self, and I'm just gonna talk about just being your genuine self and what that can open up and what it can close and like perceived thoughts and ask you guys some questions as well. So, but no interviews. So I had some medical issues in 2020, 2021. Everything started getting a little bit better, and now we're here in 2022. In 2021, I also finished coach certification, internationally certified through ICF. So I hold my international certification in that. That kind of changed my life a little bit as well. Helped me with prioritizing things, different things like that. So I learned a lot in the last 3 years. So when I say years, I usually mean those 3 years. And one of the things that was really hurting me was like work. I appreciate you rocking with that. One of the things that really changed for me was work, and I learned how to manage up. I was like not even the same person. I was stressed out. I hope I get affiliated quick as well, man. I'm like an hour and a half off, so hopefully we can rock with it today. 6 people in here. Let's get chatting it up. Let's get it hype. I was kind of miserable at my job, really good at my job, but I was kind of in a situation and I wasn't really feeling it, and I was getting burnt out, reaching that point of burnout, and I ended up going to coaching and learning how to manage up. Then I started to do stuff like advocate for myself, speak up. I'm a real nice person, but I got really not stern, but like really direct about what I wanted and where I wanted to go, and what I no longer was like a yes person, like a yes man or whatever. I was more of like a direct conversation kind of person, and I never felt more like myself until I started doing that. And the career trajectory completely changed once I started doing that. And so I feel like it's important because a lot of times, like nice people, people who are like genuinely care about people and stuff like that, you get taken for granted, you get walked over, or you just don't get seen. You know what I mean? It's like one of those three things. Either get taken advantage of, a sparkle, either get taken advantage of, walked over, or not seen. And I feel like that's not really like how it should be. You know what I mean? I appreciate you being in here. Pull up. And so I kind of want to help people and have this conversation just because I feel like a lot of the times we present ourselves and a lot of times we are who we are, but we never actually validate that that's our genuine self. We last week me and Brandon talked about being chameleon and the chameleon effect. And if you missed that, like the chameleon effect is good for survival because it means that you can blend into different environments and stuff like that. It means that you can probably do a lot of things and get away with a lot of stuff. Okay, so it helps you. It's kind of like a survival tactic and a survival instinct. Like if you go somewhere that's kind of familiar to an environment that you're used to being in, when you're in that environment, you can be like a chameleon and you can blend in. You don't really stand out and stuff like that. However, what you should always do is remain true to self, and that's that genuine self thing that I want to talk about today. So, my question for the chat and everybody watching right now is, let me pull up my first. Thank you, Jinxie. Appreciate you being in here. What is something someone assumes about you? So if you're in the chat, you want to type in the chat, let's blow it up. Like, what is something that someone assumes about you? So the first thing I'm gonna go ahead and go for it. The first thing people generally assume about me is that I'm not a very like friendly person. Like I'm serious all the time. I like to joke a lot, but I know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. So sometimes like you see me around, I smile all the time, but for some reason I usually look serious when I'm not smiling. So people always assume I'm like super serious, and I'm a pretty big dude. So like everybody just like assumes that like they can't fuck with me or something like that. And I'm like the most chill, laid back person. I like I said, I like to joke. I don't really take life too seriously. I like to have a good time. I like to make jokes. I like to like get to know people. I like to talk to people. I like to do all that. So I feel like when people meet me though, like the first thing they do is they look at me like, dang, that's a big dude. The second thing, if I'm not smiling, I got resting bitch face, you know what I mean? So I can't help it. You know, I look serious, but I'm not. I guarantee you, I'm not. Unless like you could tell when the switch come on. You know what I'm saying? When that light bulb go off, then yeah, you probably shouldn't mess with me. But until that point, I'm just a genuine person. You know what I mean? I try to be nice. I try to be honest. I try to be what I expect from other people. Um, so if y'all, you know what I'm saying? What is something someone assumes about you that's like not true, but it's something that's like a common theme? I appreciate you, boss lady. Yeah, I try to have great vibes. You know, I appreciate that the pull up game vibes though are so like they're balanced. You know what I mean? Like everybody from different places, cut from different cloths, yet we all can vibe out together. So I appreciate that. It's like that community, like the community is great. Like honestly, I've been around Twitch for years. I brought up Mixer last time, and I've been in communities before where it's like everybody just trying to do themselves, and ain't nobody trying to blend together. You know what I mean? I've been in some good communities. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've been in some good bigger communities, but I feel like this community is more genuine. You know what I mean? It's like the people who are actually interacting and talking and not just like hanging out. Those people will always show up. Those people will always have something to say, like criticism, good criticism or not, like advice. And it's like you can take it, you can walk away with it, or you can keep going. You know, I feel I haven't met like a non genuine person in the pull up game, and I appreciate that. Thankful for you, and thankful for Yadi Dottie for introducing me to everybody that's in the chat right now, blowing it up. I appreciate all y'all. So the other thing I want, another question I have for y'all is there a time someone told you something about yourself that wasn't a true representation of you? So like somebody that you know, whether it be like a friend or like somebody like a friend's friend, somebody just roll up on you and be like, "Hey, you are XYZ," and you just like hold the hell up. Like, where'd you hear that? One, two. If you're a friend of a friend, I would hope that my friend knows me well enough to tell you like that's not me. But like, have y'all ever been in that kind of situation where like somebody just roll up on you and be like, yo, your favorite color is yellow, and you like, nah, I don't know, or like, oh, hey, I heard that you were down with, I don't know, sneaking into the movies like at 3 a.m. tomorrow. What's good? And it's like, I don't even know you, man. Like, I feel like one of the most common things that happens to me is people assume, let's see, assumption somebody made about me that was like completely off putting. I had to think about what I'm putting out. You already know what's up, fam. You've been right. Look at y'all being friendly. Um, One of the things people is that I'm not like people tell me that I'm not approachable or that like I just don't have time to like they feel like I'm so busy that they can't talk to me or I don't have time. And that's something that like I always have to check myself on is like what am I putting out there that people feel like I ain't here for them or like I don't have time for them or you know, I'm just too busy to care cuz that is completely opposite of like if y'all start to get to know me and everything like I'm I will like if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm 100% gonna do it. And if I can't do it or something changes, I'm gonna tell you that that thing changed. You know what I mean? So I feel like I feel like that's kind of like the image I put out, and but sometimes it's not. It's not what people see. Like sometimes people see like I'm too busy or like maybe I forgot or something like that, and it's like it's a two-way street. Like if I said I was gonna do something, like you could key me up and remind me if I did forget about it and it's, some time has passed. But if it's just like if it just happened like 2 hours ago, and then you come to me, you be like, "Yo, I thought you said you're gonna do X, Y, Z." I'm just gonna look at you sideways because it's like you got to give me time too. You can't just assume that you know you're gonna get the priority. Like you don't know how my values is stacked. So I think that it's okay when stuff like that happens to kind of like one draw the boundary, but like two clarify. So let people know where you sit or where they stand, or like if you said you was gonna do something, this is what it looks like. Don't just leave people like waiting and waiting and waiting, because that's fucked up too. But what you can do is you could just be clear, concise, and then just keep them updated. Like that's the last part of being genuine is, you can be clear and concise and give like a good message and make sure they understand, but you also got to come back on the back end and do your part as well and keep them updated. You know what I mean? Like everybody had that friend that like they say they're gonna do stuff and then they just fall off and then you never hear from them for like 3 months. The Gravity Bar, first time chatter. I appreciate you coming in here. People assume I'm just going to say yes to their request. Facts. So what is that a true thing, or is that a misconception that people have about you? So like people make that assumption. So what type of person are you, Gravity Bar? I used to at work. I used to be a yes man, and people assumed I was a yes man. I am no longer a yes man. I'm not a no person either. I'm a well. What it actually looks like is. So I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. I'm just gonna redefine it in my perspective and my priorities, and let you know there are people that who don't deserve your time or friendship. But I'm gonna get back to that. Too nice. Okay. So you are too nice. Is that what you're saying? So if you're too nice and then people assume that you're just gonna say yes to their request, yes, yes, I can feel that. So do you find yourself having to draw like lines in the sand and try to be more clear, or is that something you go back and you look on yourself and you say, hey, maybe I'm not presenting that clear enough for what they got going on. Like maybe it's something that I'm not projecting outwards. And then AV said, so people see me as a yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think the only way is like if genuine to yourself, if that's something like you want to be nice, but everybody thinks you're just gonna say yes, then to be true to yourself, what you need to do is establish that boundary, right? So you can still be nice, but you need to draw that line in the sand. Like even if you say yes, right? Even if you say yes, you just say for this time, and you put like a duration on it, so that way they know it's not like a guaranteed thing. People get disappointed when I don't say yes, and that's on them, right? If somebody gets disappointed on something you do, right, and you don't say yes, you say, hey, right now I don't have the time, or right now I can't really do that, and they take issue with that, that's on them. That's not a reflection of anything on that you've done as your genuine self. That's a reflection on how they're interpreting your message and taking that message and going away from like your actual values and your meanings. You were still being a nice person, even though you said no. They just take it and spin that around, but that's not your genuine self. So you can't let that have an impact. That's where that boundary comes in, because you have to protect yourself from their negativity on spinning what it is that you actually want to do, and how you can show up for them in that moment, because only you can decide how you show up for somebody in a moment. And then back to what Avi is saying, there are people who don't deserve your time or your friendship. If people can't understand that situations in life happen, I was 15 minutes late to this stream because I needed to restart my laptop so I wouldn't drop so many frames. I see it says unstable, but like, you know what I mean? Because to me, that presentation and that prep and everything like that, that matters. So, if people was not gonna rock with it, they wasn't gonna rock with it. You know what I mean? And then but everybody that's in here right now, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. I hope that the quality is better than what the quality was when I was gonna start, and the intention was there. But everybody doesn't deserve your time or your friendship, because everybody can't handle you. If you feel like you giving up so much of yourself that you no longer are true to self for somebody else, you need to reevaluate that friendship real quick. It's so many quotes and so many things like out there, motivational speeches and everything that say the people around you should bring you up. And I go one step farther. They should challenge you. If you're not challenging me to do better, like, or be a better person, or like take my goal and go one step higher, I don't really know that I really want to rock with you like that. Like we could be associates. I'll be nice to you. I might call you every once in a while. I help you when you need help. I don't know if I'm gonna rock with you. Rock with you. You know what I mean? Like my team is real tight knit, and if we not bringing each other up, I don't really know what we doing. But yeah, I'm glad that makes sense. You know, it's gravity. Like take it, take it one conversation at a time, and you know, but don't be afraid to have that feedback in that conversation, you know, and kind of just be like, hey, I can't do it right now. And they like get, if let's say they get disappointed, you say, well, why are you disappointed? And try to kind of understand what's going on. So that way you can still be true to yourself and be nice. And then you kind of like reassuring them that like it's not something that they did, but you're trying to understand why it's an issue. And then, you know, if it's something that maybe it changes your mind, like let's say like it's something that's really a priority and maybe you got 5 minutes, then maybe you change to like, okay, well, I'm saying no, but this is what it look. I'm not saying no, I'm not saying yes, but this is what it would look like if I was able to help you. And I think that would go a long way. So my next question is, you know, this is the true test of genuine self, yo. Y'all do pineapple on pizza? If you do pineapple on pizza, put a one. If you think pineapple don't belong on pizza, put a two. I'll go first. I am definitely a pineapple on pizza person. And I don't, I don't know why, but I understand like, you know, everybody thinks, but like that's one of the most common questions and device things. Like I don't know how pineapple ended up on pizza, but I rock with it. And so I bet so it's three of us out of five out of the what seven people that's in here. It's three of us that rock with it. We the majority. I appreciate y'all. We gonna be best friends and go forward and prosper. But it's one of them things that like, you know, I don't know why. I don't know like who did it. I was gonna try to research it, but I don't really know why that happened. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I rock with pineapple on pizza. This it almost feels like preachy, but I'm gonna keep talking about the genuine self too because I just feel like it's one of them conversations that we all know that we should be honest with ourselves, but we don't do it. It's just like uh, nobody really talks about it. You know what I mean? So the other thing is like when situations happen, are you the type of person that shows up for people that don't show up for you? You know what I mean? Let me repeat that. So when things happen and situations happen and arise, do you find it that you're the type of person that shows up for people that don't show up for you? And if so, have you ever stopped to think why? AV said there are people who don't deserve your time or your friendship. Now, there are going to be situations like maybe a death in the family or something like that. And in those situations, you can't expect somebody to show up for you like the same way that you showing up for them. You know what I mean? But it's times that when nothing else is going on, and we would drop everything that we got on our plate, take that joint off, and put their meal on our plate, and then try to eat it and forget about everything that we got going on. And I ask you, in that moment, how true to yourself are you being in that moment? You know what I mean? So there are people who don't deserve your time or your friendship. You sacrificing so much of your own self to be there for somebody that wouldn't do the same thing for you, provided that the situation isn't something dire. Yeah, she said yes, but lately been finding it draining. Yeah, it's taxing, right? It's taxing. It's one of those things that kind of cause you to reevaluate, like to look at that friendship and say, you know, it's an exercise that we do in coaching. It's called the values wheel. And what you do is, and if you want, if you DM me or private message me, I'll send it to you, and I'll send you the instructions, free of charge. But what it does is it helps you align, like kind of get an understanding of what your values are and where they align for you. So what you do is you constantly, like when you had a values wheel, you constantly are looking. It's like a pie chart, and what you do is you constantly reevaluate what your priorities are, and where and how it's affecting you, right? So like let's say gravity, you got friendship as a priority, being nice, um, being my best self, taking care of family and friends and all that. And like let's say friends is a value for you, family is a value for you, self is a value for you, being nice and all that, right? So what happens is why you say it, you finding it draining is you're taking away from self, your value of self, and you're giving it to other people. You know what I mean? So when that happens, it's hard. It's hard for you to have enough energy left over for you. You know, we could do like I don't know if you like lift weights or anything or go to the gym, but imagine that you got the 45 pound barbell on there for you, and then one of your friends comes up and they like, "Hey, I need $20 to go to the gas station." You like, bet, I got you. Boom. Imagine they add a 45 plate on that. Then another friend comes up and says, "Hey, can you come over here on Tuesday because I'm moving and I need you to carry some stuff?" And you like, "All right, bet." Then imagine they never come back. So that's 135 pounds, right? Imagine they never come back to take that 45 pound weight off. And you still got to go add on your own stuff in your life too. So not only now you got the 45 pound bar and you waiting to add your stuff, you still got their stuff on and they ain't even come back to take their stuff off. I.e., hit you with a thank you, say, hey, when you show up, like, hey, you know what? I appreciate the time that you took to come in here and spend some valuable time with me and everything like that. Right? So that's why it can be draining if you let that stuff go on. Now, if they come back and they like, hey, you helped me move on Tuesday, thank you so much. Like this is how it helped me. They should be removing that plate off of you. You know what I mean? You should be taking off that 45, and you should be feeling a little bit lighter, and re-energized. So, if you showing up for people that don't show up for you, you ain't getting nothing back in your bucket. Okay. I mean, we could do the bucket analogy. Somebody come drop some water in your bucket. That joint just get heavier and heavier and heavier. You never get to drop no water back in their bucket, but they gonna keep filling yours up. So on the journey of, being your genuine self, these are like questions and conversations you have to have with yourself. And you have to do it not necessarily with everybody that you have an interaction with. Like let's say work. You're not gonna go with every single person you talk to. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna take work as a whole, and then you're gonna say, this is my work bucket. Okay, what's going on here? And all right, well, that's a little bit too much. Maybe I need to dial down XYZ because this is too many people. But if it's like a friend or a family member or something like that, you definitely can have a bucket for them and you can definitely do it. Uh, what up, Don Juan, my boy? Yo, I'm so sorry I missed your I know you was trying to do the podcast yesterday night, man, with everybody in the Discord. I think we should plan it out like a week. I had my son just refused to go to bed, man. So I saw that you was on. I could not log in to get in there with you and chop it up with you, man. But I would, if y'all ain't already following the Don Juan, his streams is lit. He a genuine person. He be out there and he come through. If you need help with something, he's talked to you during his stream and try to help you and then tell you to hit him up later, bro. He good people, man. But Gravity, you said, how do you have that convo? So the best way to have a conversation is just to start it. You know what I mean? So if you say you finding it draining that you're showing up for somebody and they're not showing up for you, you don't want to like come at them full fledged. But when the situation arises and you start to feel that drain, it's nothing wrong with letting them know, like, hey, I'm not really feeling this, or hey, there's something I've been meaning to talk to you about. The thing is, you can't let all the past transgressions build up into that one conversation. So you have to wait until you feel the drain, and you can't say this has been going on for 20 years, and because you never told them, so how could they have had the opportunity to make a correction? Like if I never tell you that, yo, you've been coming at me sideways and you've been doing this since we was in high school. You know what I mean? Like my cousins are here. I come to my cousin and be like, yo, Trey, I'm just gonna use your example, Trey. Yo, Trey, back when you was 7, you took my cookie, and now that now that I'm in my 30s, man, when you came to Thanksgiving and you took that turkey leg, I was so upset with you. Like you can't do stuff like that. You know what I mean? But what you can do is when you take that turkey leg, you be like, yo, Trey, uh, you really took that turkey leg. You saw my hand was on it. You know why? You know, and then you sit and you listen and you start the conversation. So that's the best way to do it. Gravity is, don't bring up stuff that happened in the past. Bring up the current situation and how that current situation made you feel. Now it's going to be affected by the past, but you don't need to let the past overpower what you got going on right now. Does that make sense? So that's one of the best ways to do it. Those are called crucial conversations. So if you ever get on Google and you Google, there's some good YouTube videos out there. It's called this is the type of conversation that you're talking about having. It's a whole I don't know if you read too, but like it's a whole book out there on that. And it'll help you talk about stuff that's important in a manner of where it can be received by the other person as well. So I definitely would suggest I would definitely suggest, having that crucial conversation. Um, Brandon said, yo, that I'm upset all the time. That I think I'm better than everyone. Oh, what? Okay, so Brandon, we was talking about Brandon earlier. He is on Facebook. He was talking about he's got a few recorded. I can't see. Oh, I couldn't see you, no, because I had the wrong chat box open. But thank you for tuning in on Facebook. We appreciate everybody that tunes in: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Um, I'm glad you got some podcast episodes recorded. You a man of your word, genuine person. Good job, man. I can't wait to hear them. I hope one day I can be a guest on your podcast. I love chopping it up with you, man. So people assume that you're upset all the time. What about them assuming that you're upset all the time? Is it what about that is not genuine to the type of person you are? I mean, I already know the answer, but I just want to ask just for the heck of it. Boss lady, I appreciate you shouting everybody out. I appreciate y'all just swinging through. Let me tell you a little bit about Your Time In podcast and the direction that we're going. If you missed the beginning of the stream, let me just go ahead and take this time and let you know what our trajectory looks like, because it's important to have goals, and it's important to discuss and talk about your goals, and it's also important to write them down. So if you're not already doing that, make sure you talk about your goals and make sure you write them down, and make sure when you talk about them, you're talking about them with people that support you and uplift you, not people that just empty your bucket and don't fill it back up, but somebody that's going to support you and going to push you and remind you about your goals. All right. So if you do that, I promise that you will obtain those goals, because you have people that's holding you accountable and pushing you to become the best version of you. But where we're going, so we don't have a podcast scheduled for next week. Next week we should be celebrating Twitch affiliate. Thank y'all very much for showing up and showing out. Appreciate every single one of y'all. If I can ever help y'all out, let me know. I'm in there. A lot of these people in here, if you don't know them and you're not already following them on Twitch, please go ahead and give everybody a follow that's in this room. Everybody in here is awesome. Everybody in here, the vibes is real, and they genuinely want the best for you. Everybody can eat. We don't need to stop people from eating. All right, we just need to support you on your journey wherever that is you want to go. So with that said, though, there is some Twitch. There's another proponent of the podcast that I'm opening up either late December or early January. The topic for today, Don Juan, is being your genuine self. And my question to you, my man, is what is something someone assumes about you? Or tell me a time someone told you something about yourself that wasn't a true representation of who you are. So like they somehow or another out the blue pulled out this thing about you, but that's not how you were presenting yourself. The other things we have coming up are the streamers. We want to do some streamer podcasts. So like I want to help people who stream introduce their genuine self to their audience, you know, because I feel like a lot of times we don't get to know. Now, I'm not talking like all the personal tea, but I'm saying like, you know, who you from, how you got started, a little bit about your background, where you want to go, what's the plans for the future. Like I feel like a lot of streamers don't have time during their stream to discuss all that stuff because a lot of content streamers are playing games and stuff like that, and you interact, but it's never really that deep. Oh, shoot, man. I'm so sorry. It's unstable, bro. I know that joint's hard to watch. I think I'm gonna end up switching back to Restream because OBS be killing my thing. But tell me a time someone. Hold on. Let me just. I could close this. Tell me a time someone told you something about yourself that wasn't a true representation of you, or what is something someone assumes about you. Like so, like if somebody meets you, they make this assumption about some like what type of person you are or something like that. All right. The other thing is sometime in January, I want to kick off that streamer stuff. So hopefully that'll come through. But you know, if you're in here and you stream or you don't stream and you want to be a guest on the show, I'm open to having conversations with any and everybody. I like to talk to people. I like to ask them questions. I like to get to know people, and I like to help people. That's one of my values, and that's what helps fill my bucket. Just talking to people and using my skill sets, my coaching skill sets, and being able to talk to people and help them get through things and advance and attain what they want to obtain out of life. So I like to do that with anybody in here. Oh, you down to hop in on the regular? That's what I'll talk about, dog. Yo, I mean, listen, if you have topics and stuff that you want to talk about and that's near and dear to your heart, that's the only thing I ask is that it be something that's near and dear to your heart so that way we can have a good conversation on it. Um, I'm all for it, man. I got Wednesdays, I got slots open. 2023 is wide open. I'm off next week for obvious reasons. We're gonna have Friendsgiving, spend some time with the family. But after that, I have Glenda Houston coming on. She's a fellow coach. I got like 6 people in the queue, but you know, you can get some of that priority. Pull up gang OG, I got you. So you just let me know, man. I think what you're trying to do in the community, with having everybody on and just having the conversations via chat and just us hanging out and talking, that's a beautiful thing, man. I'm all for it. Like I said, unfortunately I couldn't do it yesterday because life happened. But anytime you want to have that conversation, bro, I'm in it. All right, bet. So some of the other things that I wanted to talk about today are just bring up just for the sake of conversation is normalizing mental health and community care and raising kids. So I don't know if y'all remember when y'all was growing up, like everybody, mama, dad, sister, aunt, neighbor, whoever it was like a community raising you as a kid. And I feel like in today's society, we don't really have that. And so I wanted to present that as a conversation topic as well. And then intervention versus incarceration, and how y'all feel about that. So, uh, how that relates kind of to like the genuine self is intervention versus incarceration, right? There's things that can happen either pre-intervention, which is it happens before whatever thing was that set them off. Whatever that happens, you know, you do the pre-intervention. Intervention is after something occurs, we want to do these steps, and then you have you have incarceration, which is the way the system handles every bad thing that they say is bad. This is how the system handles that, and they don't necessarily incarceration doesn't necessarily really lead to rehabilitation. So that's always a good topic to have. But community care, you know, raising kids, raising other people's kids, community raising kids, having the environment change and keep it moving. You know what I mean? Man, honestly, I get told I'm a bad father because of the image. their mother put on me, so I'm trying to bounce back from a lie. Bet. So it's almost like Don Juan, for those of that on Twitch, he said, honestly, I get told I'm a bad father because of the image their mother put on me. So I'm trying to bounce back from a lie. Okay. And now, do you get told you're a bad father from your kids? Or is this just people, like people in everyday life? You know what I mean? Because I feel like that is kind of that's one of the like with people in everyday life. They're taking the story from one person and they've already formulated that opinion. Now it's a now you have to make a decision whether or not you want to even engage in the lie. Like actually, this is what I have to prove to you, or just let it go. You know what I mean? And I guess depending on how that person is involved in your life, that kind of makes that determination factor. But yeah, man. I think that that's kind of a messed up assumption to make based off of one person's opinion. They should at least give you the benefit of the time to get to know you a little bit and then formulate that decision as well. Because like let's just say like there's other aspects that may be off in my life. That does not mean that I'm a bad father. You know what I mean? Like you might want to judge and what you should never do, but you might want to judge two things in my life. That doesn't mean that those two things dictate everything else in general who don't know exactly. Yeah, usually it's people who don't know you that make that assumption. And then you have to ask yourself like, how much does their opinion matter to me? Bet your sons felt that way for a while because that's something they constantly heard from their mother. So with that, it takes that's one of the things that takes action. You know what I mean? So like your actions then show them something different than what they've been hearing all the time in their ear. So you have actions and you have words. You got to do both of them in that situation because somebody else is just using words because they can't use actions because their actions are yours. That's hard, especially when your kids feel it. Yep, I agree with that 100% because it's like a constant thing that somebody else is telling and you always have to fight, especially if you don't get to talk to them all the time. You always have to constantly fight to like get back up the hill, even though you keep falling down the hill. You know what I mean? It's definitely a hard thing living in separate households. Yep. And like let's say that they got that thing in their ear barking all the time, and it's kind of hard to be tone deaf to it, especially if it's authoritative. Dang, man, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. And then mama held them away from me. Yeah. So then there's nothing you could do to like come in and impact them and kind of have that conversation with them and and kind of switch that narrative. You know what I mean? And so that's that part too. To what I'm saying is like it takes actions. Well, your actions are limited, so you got to do both. You got to do the vocal and you got to do the actions. That person only has to do the vocal because they staying over there, so they already seeing and living in the actions. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, so you got to do even more. Which then you reach that point that Gravity was talking about earlier. Like you just get it's draining your battery is on E, and where can you go from here? So I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that with the community. As you can see, it's like minded and people understand what you're going through. It's definitely not my interpretation of you, and I mean I ain't never met you physically, but I vibe with you for a little bit, man, and I know you squared away dude, and I know you genuine, man. Um, it's unfortunate that people do that stuff, and that you and in this situation, this is one of those situations where you gotta fight and you gotta work hard. You know what I mean? It ain't something that you just gonna brush off. It's something that you gonna fight and work hard for, um, and just try your best not to fatigue because you're not that kind of father. You know what I mean? You're not a bad father, so you just gotta keep that as the motivation to keep showing up, regardless of what's being said or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hard. That's just part of the journey. Me and my situation is a book to me. It's better now, but for the longest time, it was mentally draining. Yeah, it's taxing, man. It's heavy. the important things in when you going through something like that, the important things is like one, you got to take time with it, and you got to like try to. It's hard to do it. We were talking about crucial conversations earlier. That's one of the things you could kind of look at. Um, a lot of times there's a lot of things said in anger or like missing. I hate talking to people through text messages or email or something like that. Like sometimes I just pick up the phone and call you because there's so much that you gets left to interpretation. What was your outlet to find your energy to keep fighting? Gravity asked you, Don, what was your outlet to find your energy to keep fighting? I don't know what specifically Don is gonna say, but one thing I do want to tell you, Gravity, is like whenever you feel your back is against the ropes and you fighting, and you feel like you're running out of energy, you're gonna learn a lot about yourself in that moment. And you like there's things like, I mean, it sounds touchy feely, but it's really not. It's called like visualization exercises. And so when you feel that way, if you just close your eyes and you literally think, what's gonna get me through this moment? Whatever flashes through your brain, that's what you have to hold on to. That's like the little engine that could, like, that's the thing that's right there, ready for you to go. So is there something that motivates you in a different situation that's maybe not, um honestly, my family? I looked at old pics of me when my baby mama was together. My sons were happy with me, smiling content, and it went away as years went on. But I seen it coming back to by me trying more a little at a time. Yeah. That's that spending that intimate time with it, man, and just sitting in it. You know what I mean? Yeah, you got to find and hold on to whatever you can, to keep that fire going. But yeah, I agree that it's heartwarming. I appreciate y'all coming in here and being vulnerable in the chat, man. I know that joint. I know that's not easy to do. Like I said, I do it for a living, but I know it is hard. But a lot of times, what you find is there's a lot of people, and this is one of the reasons why I launched Your Time in Podcast. Is like the whole purpose is to help people unpause their life. So a lot of times it's people going through something similar, the same thing that you're going through, but you never know about it because nobody ever talks about it. And then one of the reasons why I launched the podcast is because I just want to get on and talk to people, like people who have found success or found failures and have something that can help you unpause your life. Like let's say you put something on pause, like let's say um let's say you wanted to take this career chance but you needed money right away, so you took this one. And then you like, one day I'm gonna get back, and then you never get back. Well, like let's say I could have somebody on here that went through that same thing that you went through, and um you never know what kind of sparks that motivation. So I love having y'all in here. I love that y'all are talking, man. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing. I appreciate it. Also, they started needing their father in situations that their mother couldn't answer. Yep, they're preteens. Now they have girl problems, manhood issues, and etc. So they can see, now I'm just as caring. Right. They have like that compare something to compare it to. They hit that point in their life where now they trying to navigate and understand stuff, and they run into people, um, and the only person who could kind of shine that light in their perspective, is someone that they never thought, because of what people was putting in their ears, was able to do it. And the good thing, Don, is you were still available and still motivated enough and not jaded by the situation enough to go ahead and take charge and come back and be that person. So kudos to you, man, for staying active, brother. and being your genuine self and continuing to be your genuine self, but being open into um, taking that perspective and kind of seeing like, okay, what does that really mean and what does that really look like? Do y'all feel like if you started one way and then you change, do y'all feel like people stick around for that or are open to that? Or like, cause I saw something the other day on, I don't know if it was Instagram or whatever, but it's like, even though I changed, people try their best to bring up the old me and not recognize any of the change that I've already taken place. So I feel like it's people that know me back when I was a knucklehead in high school that when I come around, they expect me to be that same knucklehead. You know what I mean? And I'm not, man. So much has changed in my life since when I was a youngin', and I feel like it's tempting though. Like especially when I go back to my hometown, it's tempting to like lock in with certain people and meet up with certain people and fall back into the old ways. But then I realize that those people don't recognize like any change in me and respect the fact that some of that stuff has changed. You know what I mean? Life looks a little different now. You can't be doing the same shit. So I don't know if I'm the only person that ever feels that way or not, but I just want to tell y'all, you get to pick your circle. So every day you wake up, that's a choice. Every day you wake up is a gift, but you have to make a choice in in every moment. You know what I mean? So like, if you wake up, your day is good. If you woke up this morning, your day started off good. Now you have a series of choices that you have to make. Things is gonna happen, life is gonna happen all around you, but you have to make the choices to continue on that good day of waking up. I could have did 10 times more actions, but it's like we get knocked back down. But with trial and error, I became a father better than ever. See me? It is definitely hard, man. Cause like it's y'all have history and y'all have children, you know, and that's something that's kind of hard to overcome. There's lots of like trust and a loss of that relationship and love and like you know what I mean. And so it's kind of hard to bounce back from that, and it kind of makes you not want to do like you say. I could have did 10 times more actions, but because of the situation, it's kind of limiting. The motivating factors are kind of limited in what you want to do in that time because the environment is not conducive for the actions. If that makes sense. All that matters is when the time presents itself, you show up in that moment for that time and be open, not even available, just be open for that stuff happening again. And that'll help you kind of navigate any adversity. Is that, you just gotta have that open mindset. Like right now you might not be rocking with it, but tomorrow's a new day, you know what I mean? That's what's up, man. I really appreciate y'all being in here. Well, this conversation is dope to me. Um, Big facts, man. Big facts. I was waiting on it. I knew that was coming, bro. I knew it was coming. She also had to work on herself, but I can honestly say she is a better person than she was years ago, and I'm happy for her and the co-parenting. My man's That's growth on your part as well, to be able to recognize the change in her despite any narrative that is spewed about you. I was waiting on that. You know what I mean? I was actually like, I was waiting on you to type this because um, for you to be able to recognize change in her, that means you had change in yourself. But congratulations on the co-parenting, man. I'm glad that stuff is working out. Like I said, I've never walked that path, but I do have the knowledge and the capability to talk about that kind of stuff. If you ever want to have that kind of conversation, man, I will make myself available to use my training and my resources to help you navigate anything you got going on, man. Never hesitate to hit me up, brother. I got you. Rock solid. What for the people who are still in here? I used to hate her so much that it affected me. I ended up telling her, "Look, I can't forget the past, but I forgive it. I just want to be friends and raise two amazing sons." Yes, that's good, man. That's good, man. Ain't nobody do no roll call, boss lady. We ain't here having a good conversation. But thank you for still being here. I appreciate you. Yeah, I get that. I've had people come to me expecting the party. Hard drink, hard version, not the motivated grown version. But the more they see what I'm trying to do, the more that old image goes away. It just takes me not falling into the trap, not falling to the hole. Yeah, yeah, that's fat. Roll call. I appreciate you. I think it's just you, Don, and Gravity because the conversation got heavy and it ain't for everybody, and that's okay. Like you said, being my genuine self. Yeah, honestly, like I used to. See, I'm in a fraternity, so my senior year of college it was a great year. But like I said, I ain't the same person I used to be. Man, I don't even drink anymore. So, like that's the biggest for me. The biggest thing for me, right, is if all my old friends that know me as the partier, like the drinker, like you know what I'm saying, like the kickbacks and whiskey, if they can't respect the fact that I don't drink no more, I ain't even got time to hang out with them. You know what I mean? Because it's already hard enough not to do that stuff on your own and like to get the discipline you got. But it's one of them things like you don't need that extra person that's supposed to be pulling you up to bring you back down. You know what I'm saying? I should join this cause man. Hey Don, listen, bro. If you want to have like we can do a podcast like literally on this. Um, I'm down to facilitate the conversation because I feel like one, I know you're open to talk about it because you already been talking about it. And I think honestly, I think that there's a lot of people that go through what you've been through. I personally haven't, but I feel like because the outcome is where you're okay with it. Maybe I'm not gonna say like I'm not gonna make assumptions that's where you want to be or it's not good enough or something like that. But because you seem in line with the outcome, and I think that there's a lot more to it to unpack, like the development of it that people can learn from, like the from there to here. Um, and I would say even like the impact that has on how you show up as a streamer for your community or how you show up for people, all that stuff that you've been through, and just that situation that impacts all that. So I'm here for it, dog. Cut them off with no regrets. Yeah, honestly, like if people are stopping you from being your genuine self, do you really want to rock with them? Like, imagine if Boss Lady wasn't who she was, and Boss Lady was like, "Hey, I know we have the affiliate and the non-affiliate going live links, but you can't use those because you don't talk and just chatting. Could you imagine? I don't have 75% of the friends I had last year. I accomplished so much in my life I didn't think I could. Solo boss lady witnessed a lot of my stuff since she met me. And to be honest, I converse with everyone I meet gaming more than people I grew with. Yeah, honestly. I mean, you could look at what if you want to get like to the rap stuff, you could look at like I look at like T Grizzly's. I used to watch T Grizzly stream like hardcore. I don't really watch it that much anymore. But hey, thank you for coming in and chatting, young Layla. Youngin Layla, sorry. Can I call you Layla? Thank you for coming in here and chatting and kicking with us. I appreciate you stopping through from the Discord. Pull up gang. We just having a conversation on being our genuine selves, and I'm just chatting. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no music going on or nothing like that, because I'll take and edit this, and it'll become an official podcast for streaming platforms. But yes, I mean I don't mind calling you Young and Layla. I used to have a my email address used to be Young and for real 21 back on the AOL days, so I don't mind saying the Youngin part. But thank you for joining us this evening, Layla. Have you ever, since you went here and you chatting and watting, what is something someone assumes about you that's not true? And is it? Do you feel like it's something like a way that you're misrepresenting yourself, or is it something that's just like so off the wall crazy? And Boss Lady didn't participate, so we gonna call her out too. Um, but yeah, have y'all ever? Oh, thank you for the follow too. I appreciate that. Have you ever, Gravity? Have you had to cut anybody off, or has everybody in your circle been understanding of where you are on your journey in life? Cause I'm like with Don, man. Everyone thinks I'm mean. I'm a nice, and the rest of his face. And yeah, I was saying that earlier. I was saying that like when I'm smiling at everybody, everybody know like I'm a nice person, but like when I'm not smiling, I just got rest in bitch face. Like, I feel like everybody thinks like I'm aggressive or I'm mean or I'm angry or something like that. 9 times out of 10, I'm just joking around, man. I don't even like when I'm serious. You know I'm serious. Like you gonna know, but man, 9 times out of 10, I'm just being sarcastic and a smart ass. So I feel you on that. We can't change our face. Oh, look at Boss Lady in here. She chatting. Somebody take a screenshot. People assume I'm a pushover because I don't understand how I respond. Sorry, I wasn't done typing that. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll reread it later in a minute. A lot of women would think I'm a player just because I'm not ready to settle. Yes, I have my days. But like I said, I was this type of guy. Yeah, you a savage? You a savage, dog? What? Could tell by the name, man. Nah, listen. I think that everybody reaches a point in their life where they get to know themselves. And if you in that point in your life, can't nobody tell you nothing different. So it don't mean you're a player. It don't mean anything. It mean that you getting to know yourself. And if you happen to introduce yourself to some young people that you are attracted to and you just want to kick it with, then that's what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like that's you being true to yourself in that moment. And there's nothing wrong with that. If they want something different than what it is that you're putting out, that's when the boundaries come into play. Where it's like, what can I do better to help you understand? Oh shoot, I'm sorry that the background messed up. I got a little passionate. What am I doing? Let me know what I'm doing and how you're interpreting it so that I can explain it to you so that you can understand exactly where I'm at. So she said, but people assume I'm a pushover because of the way I choose to respond to stuff. Hmm. Okay. I don't react to things right away or off impulse. I'm 37. I look for all aspects of everything that move. I'm very observant and I never play my cards ahead of time. New people don't know that, but old friends know. Those that need to know will know. You know what I mean? And they'll get used to that as well. But I can see that assumption. Like people think, oh, yo, let me just go ahead and walk over real quick. She's a little busy. Oh, she didn't say no, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. And it's like really what you're doing is processing, taking the time to process what's actually going on. I respect. I do that too. I take in full disclosure, my mom sent me a news article this morning, and I looked at it sideways. I'm like, what? I went and read five other news articles, gathered all the information, and then formulated an opinion, and then responded back. You know what I mean? Out of respect and love to my mother. But I do that. I like to gather stuff because if I a lot of the times when I used to respond when I was younger, it would take me down a path that wasn't who I really was. You know what I mean? Like I might just jump off and I wasn't really hearing what the person was saying. So there's this thing called active listening. If you get on Google, we already talked about crucial conversations, and now we're going to talk about active listening. But there's a thing called active listening, um, which is exactly what Boss Lady is talking about. Is like somebody's telling you something, you listening, and you're hearing the words they're saying. Sometimes you regurgitate it back to them to make sure you understand what they said, and you're trying to put a interpretation of meaning on that, and then you respond. That's called active listening. We do that all the time in coaching, but sometimes we don't active listen. Sometimes we hear something and then we respond according to what we thought we heard. And every man ain't good for that stuff. So I say haven't had to really cut anyone off. Kind of drifted through some moves out of state and just never cared to follow up on friendships. That's the best way to do it because once you like if you change your phone number and somebody the I changed my phone number when we moved back from Germany. The people who really wanted to keep talking to me, they all got my phone number. They either hit me up on some different platform through another friend or something like that. They all got my phone number. Everybody that used to have my old phone number, that dude said stop calling them. Okay, so y'all need to figure out how to reach out to me on Facebook and everything like that. Um, but I feel like the people who really want to rock with you, genuine about you, either gonna reach out to them or they gonna reach out to you. I gotta do some stuff, but I'm gonna keep. Hey, thank you, young Layla. I hope you have a wonderful night. Come back in here. Let us know how everything is going. I understand. I understand. Thank you for keeping it tab. Listen first, full story. Yeah, younger. Let me find out. Boss lady be popping off. Well, she said younger days, but I think she still be popping off. Yo, you be seeing her with them gifs? Hmm. Fast on. You heard it one time? What's it? What's it? She be sweaty, boy. Our response is different now, and you've seen that firsthand. I can still go there now, but I choose differently. I respect it way more now by how I move, the way I handle things. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. It's like you could put out the silver, like you know how your parent, like when somebody important come over. I grew up like this, like you put out the china, you know what I mean. But people need to know that they can still get that paper plate. You know what I mean? Like facts. Um, do what you got to do. It may hurt, but in the end, it's for your mentally healing, not theirs. Yeah, yeah. It do. I mean, it hurt to cut people off, but if you going if you don't cut them off, you become so exhausted that other people you impacting your relationship with other people to save that one relationship with that person. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Like, you know what I mean? Like these kind of conversations and like this is what I like about the pull up gang and Twitch and Facebook and YouTube is like these kind of conversations and these kind of topics about like being your genuine self, mental health, toxic. Like, wait till we talk about toxic masculinity. Like, you ain't gotta like me, but you gonna hear my opinion on it, and then we gonna have some research and stuff to go behind it. And but for the most part, it's gonna be my opinion, and then I think I'm gonna have Brandon on to do toxic masculinity because we just banter so well together. The Don, if you want to get on there, you can talk about it too, man. But like, it ain't for everybody, and that's okay. Oh, you was talking about what was you talking about on your Facebook? Like, so for me, it's like I understand that the niche and the conversations and the growth is not for everybody, but hopefully, right, through sharing and like having the topic and like everybody know what's going on and what we're talking about, hopefully the people who relate to the message and hear the message, you know what I'm saying? Like hopefully they can relate to it and it has an impact on them. Like that's my whole plan and goal is like it could be 100 people, 200 people in here, women being too Oh, okay, okay. You say women being too much. Oh, bro. Okay, listen. I think. Oh, Don. I think we can have such good conversations, but because I like to play like devil's advocate a lot too. So I think that makes good for conversations. You know what I mean? Like if we have like a respectful conversation, where we're not in agreement about something, that joint is fire. But like this is what the podcast is for, man. Like honestly, it's just to have conversations and hopefully that people take away something from it. Um, or they want men to be masculine but tear us down when we want to share emotion and want to talk down. Yeah, bro. I'm not part of that whole man don't cry gang. Listen, if you don't let it out some way, shape, or form, it's gonna come out in a manner that you're not ready for, and it's gonna cause an action that you didn't mean to happen. That's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? Express yourself, get your help. But that's one of the things with being your genuine self. That one of the points I had was normalizing mental health. If you grew up in a marginalized, I don't really say minority anymore, but if you grew up in a marginalized community, mental health is kind of taboo. Like, I mean, I remember when people would call like, "Oh, you going to see the crazy person? Like, you crazy?" Or like we feel like everybody who goes sees mental health provider that they got like a significant mental health disorder, and that's not the case. Like, and if they do, you should be happy for them that they're receiving the medical treatment that they need to balance out themselves and be their genuine self. You know what I mean? But I feel like in a lot of marginalized communities, it's like, well, why you got to go there? Is something wrong with you? Like, if it's something wrong with me, I want it to get better. But I don't feel like nothing wrong with me. Maybe I just want to go somewhere and talk to somebody. Maybe I feel like if I don't talk to somebody, there will be something wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I feel like mental health is such a taboo thing. Like, my wife is a DSW, it's a doctor of social work, and I had a bad relationship with therapy and like mental health and everything, just from like some stuff that happened to me when I was a child. And like now, I'm just like, yo, real life. If you don't talk about stuff, you gonna have an action or a reaction to something that's gonna be so misproportionate than to what actually occurred. And it's because you're not getting the help elsewhere or having the conversations elsewhere that you need to be having. And that's real talk. So I feel like I'm all for it, Don. I feel like one of the cool things about me too is I'm so I can be unopinionated and just take in information. You know what I mean? Like in a non-judgmental way. I've been blessed with that ability where from a non-judgment place, I like perspectives, and I like and I respect your perspective, and I ain't trying to sway you to my perspective. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from to a point though, because everything everybody go through ain't for you to understand personally on a personal level because you're not going through it. You know what I mean? That's like I feel tell people like if you want to give me your opinion on something, that's great, but don't expect me to take that action that you would take. I'm gonna take your opinion and then use that to formulate my own opinion and then move my own way. Don't expect me to move the way that you would have moved because you don't know everything there is to know about my situation or what I've been through. But I appreciate your opinion. You know what I mean? But just remember it's just an opinion. But yeah, I appreciate y'all coming in here, rocking with me, talking with me. Um, I don't even know where that came from. I wonder, like, I see that came up on the screen. Apologize for that. I can't. It didn't come up in the chat though. So unless I need to refresh my chat. Bear with me a second. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know where that came from. Oh, probably came from YouTube. Anyway, so how y'all feel about this is my last question though, but like how y'all feel about community care and like where do you stand on like community care? Do you feel like without there being physical, like let's not talk about any type of like capital punishment or something like that, but like how do y'all feel? Do y'all feel that the communities are still raising the neighborhood kids the same way that they used to? Or do you feel like that change in community has changed? Because I mean, me personally, I think that some of the stuff that the younger generation has going on, with as far as like being vocal, being present, being active, or like putting stuff on display is good. But I feel like a lot of the community stuff is missing. Like a lot of the neighborhood stuff is gone. The sense of tie to your neighborhood, like I get a lot from, the Discord and building that community online as well. But it's like I feel like a lot of people don't even know their neighbors, or like if you get locked out, does your neighbor have a key to your house, or like we still talking, we still bringing over fruit cakes and fruit pies and all that stuff, or we just not rocking with community neighborhood no more. Facts. Yeah, I mean, it becomes evident like you don't really see um like grassroots stuff anymore. And that's one of the things I'm trying to work on right now. Um and to visualize in my head is like how can I take this podcast and be more grassroots with it and like just be there for kids and like have a safe space and all that. Like that's one of the things I feel like community is definitely not like what it used to be. No sense of like belonging to that neighborhood or anything like that. Not at all, especially after COVID. Way different. Everyone act like they're on island. And if you want to see us, you need an appointment. That's life. That's life. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like everything is an appointment. You can't even walk into the doctor's office without an appointment now. Whatever happened to walk-in appointments? Um, but yeah, I feel like COVID played a huge part on that, and there's nothing wrong with change. But a lot of people get lost in self, even with family, not the same as it used to be. Yeah, it's not. Nobody's coming to cookouts. There's not that many family reunions anymore. Um, Everybody's like, you could be careful and be safe and still get together. But I just kind of feel like, like that sense of pride. Like I wonder, like I always think like kids today, like there was this one guy, he kind of went famous for his job interview skit where he was like telling them what they was gonna get, and I 100% agree with that. Like it's a two-way street. It's an interview. You chose me as a qualified candidate, which means for the interview, which means that I have something that you want. Now you need to sell yourself to me, and I need to sell yourself to you. Like I agree with that, but it just kind of like made me think like there's no sense of like we know our parents grew up like in factories. They worked 20 something years at the same job and all that, and they had like that sense of like this is where I'm from, this is my neighborhood. Like I remember growing up, and my next door like three out of the four of my next door neighbors had keys to my house. Never went in there, never broke in, nothing like that. But like just in case we went gone for the weekend or like something like that, they could get in. And now it's like nobody no trust nobody. Even with Discord, we have been trying to incorporate community days like this Sunday for people to get together. Yeah, I think that's important. It's important. Just like everybody represents themselves as individual, and it's cool to have those private one-on-one conversations. But as a community, we got to get together and we got to do stuff together. And everybody that wants to participate can still have that fun. You know, and that's one of the reasons why. Like the second I went in Yachty Dotty stream, and I known him since college. Me and like freshman year of college, we didn't really hang out too much after freshman year. I was like a mad nerd freshman, sophomore, and junior year, and then senior year I went crazy. But I knew him from freshman year, and like I was trying to get him to come to podcast because I seen he had like just started doing it and he's taking off and he had a new family. And I'm like, yo, I just want to have a conversation with you about like how things are going. And the second I seen like pull up gang and everybody in there talking and then I think it's like a month later I joined the Discord. And I'm just like, yo, this community is. I don't even remember how I ended up in your stream, boss lady, but I think it was like you said something in Yachty's stream, and then I followed you, and then I got a notification that you went live, and then I went in your stream, and the same happened for me with the Rebel, and we just interacted in her stream, and I really like the fact that like how she engages her community and everything on there, and I was like, yo, said, what is a family reunion? A family reunion is when you go to somebody's house like your grandmama and they got food and drinks and stories and shit talking. That's it. That's it. Everybody you ever grew up with in one location. Recipe for disaster and drama. But it's fun as hell. But yeah, man, I want to encourage everybody, like, you know, reach out to somebody who you haven't talked to in a long time and just check in with them, see how they doing, see how everything is going, see how life is treating them, because you just never know. Hey, wait till you hear your sound alert. You gonna be so mad at me. Thank you. I try. You know what I'm saying. I like rocking with everybody that's in there. I like the vibes. I like showing up at people's stream and showing out and just showing love and appreciation for all the great things that they going on and just support. Because like I just said, you never know when somebody needs you to like just talk to them and like you never know what somebody's going through and how much you appreciate them. So I appreciate y'all rocking with that. That's cool with me. I appreciate y'all coming in here, helping a brother get to affiliate status. We got big plans for the podcast and the show in 2023. You know, I definitely want to have. I like interviews. I feel like interviews flow a little bit better. It's nice to have that dynamic to bounce off of somebody. Just chatting is cool as well when the community is in here and y'all talking and stuff like that. But I feel like the topics, it's like the topics, what me and Don could talk about is so crazy. If we like planned it to like if we just planned out like yo you gonna come on, all right, what you want to talk about, and then we could just run with it. I feel like those conversations are so cool, man. And they make for good outside of live streaming. They make for good content for podcasts, actual podcasts and stuff. You have good vibes and genuine people. Oh, look at you. I think that's one of the things that like kind of attracted me to the community and like made me really want to like get locked in because like we all different, but we all the same. You know what I mean? I think it's just the concept that everybody can eat. You know, it's just like to me that's crazy that people feel like that like Twitch ain't out here making enough money for everybody to eat when they taking all your money anyway. You might as well bring everybody else to the table, especially if they willing to put in the work and the grind and everything like that. You know. So, boss lady, when you coming on the stream, you coming on the podcast? You gonna let me interview you? That table is huge. You know what I'm saying? That table is huge. We can all sit at the table and eat. If matter of fact, if y'all in here and you are not shy, y'all, if if you in here for Poke Up Gang and Boss Lady just told this lie, I need for somebody to screenshot this and put it in the Discord immediately. She just said she's shy. Um, nah, I refuse to believe that. I rebuke that in the name of Boss Lady. Yeah, you don't have no name like Boss Lady and be shy. Um, but that's one of the things I want to ask you about, actually. So I hope you do decide to come on the stream. No pressure. Just gonna be in your whispers and your inbox, telling you when you're gonna come on, just like I be doing yaddy dotty. Matter of fact, y'all could come on together and lock that in and let the people know who the OGs are. Get you, Yachty, get Don Juan up in there from get AV, GG, Todd Diggity. Oh, I lost audio. I think I think my CPU is telling me it's time. But so hopefully y'all can hear me. But if not, um, I need to open up. Just bear with me. I need to open up Stream Manager so we can raid out. Let me see. All right, give me 1 second, y'all. Let's. Hold on. I don't know if it fixed it, but let's figure out who we gonna raid, y'all. Let's bless somebody with these viewers. Hey, is anybody from